Cleveland may rock, but the weather last night, not so much. D-backs and Indians barely got into the fourth inning, and then Lake Erie formed on the field. We sat through a 3-hour, 40-minute delay, but now we are back. Put the rain dances away. We are ready to play two on a sunny, cool day in Cleveland, Ohio. It's an old-school doubleheader and a full day of D-backs baseball for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Progressive Field in Cleveland. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. The Diamondbacks and Indians will play this entire series today. We'll have both games for you on Fox Sports Arizona. And Bob, on National Left-Handers Day, I'm not even making that up, the Diamondbacks managed to have a pair of lefty starters here. The order, a little different.
Yeah, we were a little confused when we left the ballpark last night. We assumed that Andrew Chafin was going to start Game 1, which seems to make a lot of sense for a rookie rather than have him sit around and wait for Game 2. But instead, it'll be Vidal Nuno taking the ball in Game 1 for the Diamondbacks against former D-back Trevor Bauer. Andrew Chafin making his Major League debut in Game 2. Obviously, the key today, length out of your starters, especially in Game 1.
So Nuno and Chafin for the D-backs here. Both games for you on Fox Sports Arizona. And we are set to go first pitch when we come back from here at Progressive Field. David Peralta, well, a little twerking or something, whatever that was in the dugout last night. No more rain dances. We have sunny skies overhead, and we're set for two from Cleveland, Ohio, coming up next. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. Diamondbacks finally set to open up this long 10-game road trip. 2 games here in Cleveland today against the Indians, and after tonight's second game, it's on a plane off to Miami for 4 against the Marlins through the weekend. And then 4 more games at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. D-backs not back home until a week from Friday. So it was a long night last night and a long haul for Kirk Gibson's ball club. Here is the starting lineup for Gibby's D-backs. It's our entire pro starting lineup.
Ender Inciarte at the top, followed by Didi Gregorius playing shortstop. David Peralta out in right field. Mark Trumbo DHing and cleaning up in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak. Miguel Montero doing the catching in Game 1. Aaron Hill at second base. Jake Lamb over at third base. Xavier Paul getting a start in left field. And Jordan Pacheco was last night's DH, but playing first base here in Game 1 today.
And on the mound for the Indians, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher, 23-year-old right-hander Trevor Bauer, drafted 3rd overall by the D-backs 3 years ago, now facing Arizona for the first time since he was traded to Cleveland. Terry Francona, his manager here, has seen improvement.
Last year we really wanted him to establish his fastball. And he's really worked hard to do that. And now he's able to throw his changeup and breaking ball over in different counts also, which has been really helpful. This kid's getting better. He's still young, but he's really getting better.
Well, the 18th start of the season for Bauer, 4-7. The ERA right at 4.5. He is 0-3 in his last 4 starts.
Yeah, the strikeout to walk ratio much better this year than it's been throughout his career. Coming off a real rough outing against the New York Yankees, had a 44-pitch, 5-run first inning, got knocked out after 3 1/3, and this guy will throw the kitchen sink up there to the plate. These are the pitches he relies on most. But a couple of statistical websites list as many as 9 pitches for Trevor Bauer. Now, obviously, we weren't here when Trevor Bauer was with the Diamondbacks. I don't know Trevor Bauer at all. I've never talked to him, never met him. But I don't know if there's a player in Major League Baseball who was quicker at alienating his teammates than Trevor Bauer because of his workout, his stubbornness, his inability to fit the mold, and just wasn't meant to be in Arizona for Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, the storyline here with Bauer and the D-backs, well documented. Miguel Montero said for some reason Miggy feels like Bauer just felt like everybody was against him in Arizona. And those two had a very well publicized falling out as battery mates, pitcher and catcher, and now they will face each other. And we are set to go. Bauer with the Diamondbacks in 2012. An ERA over 6. Ender Inciarte will lead it off against Terry Francona's Cleveland Indians. It is a cool day here. There's a pretty decent wind gusting out there, blowing across the outfield from left to right. But fortunately, no clouds, as you see right there. A lovely day in downtown Cleveland. And Ender Inciarte will lead it off, the first of 2 D-backs and Indians here from Progressive Field. There's the strike. Our plate umpire once again this afternoon for Game 1 is Andy Fletcher. Inciarte 257 and 2 homers, 72 degrees at first pitch. That is popped up. Third base side, Lonnie Chisenhall in foul ground, and that's the first out. Let's take a look at the Indians defensively behind Trevor Bauer.
They're a banged-up ball club. They're going to have Zach Walters in left field, Michael Brantley in center, Tyler Holt, who made a real nice catch in the abbreviated attempt to play a game last night. He'll be out in right field. Lonnie Chisenhall and Mike Aviles on the left side of the infield. Jason Kipnis, Carlos Santana on the right side. Jan Gomes behind the plate for right-hander Trevor Bauer.
Didi Gregorius. 3 left-hand hitters at the top of the Diamondbacks order against the right-hander Bauer. There's a strike. Didi 250 and 4 homers.
You know, partner, a strike's a strike and a ball is a ball, but when there's a doubleheader on the schedule, it seems like those borderline pitches go the way of the pitcher more often. Keep the game moving.
The umpires have flights to catch as well.
Yes, indeed.
On and 2 is fouled straight back.
Bright sunlight here today at Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland. Right now, figures to affect the guys on the right side of the diamond a little bit more than the guys on the left side, if you judge from the shadows behind the defenders.
Well, Trevor Bauer, as Bob mentioned, has trouble early in games. That's just sort of always how it's been for him. He says he has literally tried everything for years, but just being in the game situation, it takes him a little bit to settle in. It's weird, he says, and he wishes he could fix it, but it's been an ongoing issue ever since high school, really. Here's a roller to second base, right to Jason Kipnis. 2 up, 2 down for Bauer. This year, opponents are hitting .311 the first time they face Trevor Bauer. .274 the second time and .248 the third. So you can see he really does have trouble getting off to a clean start. And Terry Francona has said the Indian staff has watched Bauer get more aggressive and throw harder with more velocity late in games. That backs up the numbers. And so Tito in that dugout now, not so quick to take Bauer out of the game when he's in early trouble, because as he says, he might lose out on his best pitches later in the game. 0-1 to David Peralta. Shaken off. That's something Diamondback fans have seen before.
He shook his head 4 times. That doesn't necessarily mean that Yan Gomes put down 4 different pitches and he didn't like any of them. Sometimes a guy will want to throw a fastball inside. The catcher calls for a fastball away, so you shake it off just wanting to change location. But David Peralta got tired of waiting, called timeout, stepped out of the box, and we started over again.
Peralta down 0-2. Trevor Bauer, a 1-2-3 first. We are just underway as we start a doubleheader here in Cleveland. Starting a pair of southpaws in this double dip against the Indians. Andrew Chafin will make his major league debut in Game 2 later today, but right now it's 27-year-old left-hander Vidal Nuno, his 7th start for the D-backs. A rough time of things, Bob, his last time out Thursday against the Royals.
3 of his 6 starts have been quality starts. He could really use some help from his offense. There's no question Nuno's a guy that's going to give up his share of hits. Occasionally those hits are going to find gaps or find the seats. He needs help from his offense. He needs help from his defense, and obviously has to keep the ball down.
Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher Vidal Nuno, originally a 48th round draft choice by these Indians. They released him less than 2 years later, and now on National Left-Handers Day, he starts against the Indians here in Cleveland.
A couple of different fastballs, a 4-seamer up in the zone occasionally, the 2-seamer trying to get grounders, slider, curve, and change up, mixes it up pretty good.
Jason Kipnis, with his unusual stance, steps in, finds himself the leadoff man on what is an injury-riddled Indians lineup. Jason Kipnis had an RBI double washed out last night. He's in there at 251. And Kipnis, the numbers down across the board. OPS about 130 points after he was an all-star last year for the first time. 1-1 misses. It's 2 balls and a strike. Vidal Nuno still looking for that first win with the D-backs. He's behind on the leadoff man. 3 balls and a strike. Kipnis hot lately. He's battled an oblique injury all season long and is sort of getting used to having limited mobility and flexibility up there. And he says if he can find a swing that works for him without being fully healthy, he'll be better off, and he seems to have done that lately. Over his last 11 games, he's hit about .325. Here's the 3-2. Vidal Nuno starts off with a strikeout, 1 away. Let's take a look at the batting order for Terry Francona's Tribe. It's our Tire Pro starting lineup.
We've seen Jason Kipnis go down on strikes. Been hitting well over his last 11 games. Mike Aviles making his way to the plate right now. Michael Brantley, cornerstone of this Indians organization. Carlos Santana down at first base. Yan Gomes doing the catching. Ryan Rayburn serving as the DH in game 1. Lonnie Chisenhall at third. Zach Walters out in left field, and Tyler Holt in right field.
The veteran Mike Aviles in there at shortstop for game 1. 249 on the year and 3 homers. He is not hitting well lately. The bat has been quiet. Aviles last 16 games hitting under 160. 11 of those games have been starts. Only 1 extra base hit over that span, and he knocks that right to Didi Gregorius at shortstop. 2 up, 2 down for Nuno. Take a look now at the Diamondbacks defensively behind their left-hander.
An outfielder with Xavier Paul in left, Ender Inciarte in center, David Peralta over in right field. The infield will be Jake Lamb at third, Didi Gregorius at short, Aaron Hill at second, Jordan Pacheco at first base, Miguel Montero catching game 1, and left-hander Vidal Nuno on the mound.
And the X-Man in the outfield, Xavier Paul getting his first start in a corner outfield spot for the Diamondbacks. The All-Star Michael Brantley, 324, 17 homers, 76 RBIs. Those home run and RBI totals already career highs. And for a guy that hit 284 last year, 324, a 40-point improvement. He has been collecting base hits in bunches lately. Michael Brantley, he's hit in 4 straight and 10 of his last 11. Adding about 430 during that span. But Brantley is a guy that does most of his damage against right-hand pitching, so this is not a bad matchup for Nuno. There are the numbers. 13 of his already career-high 17 home runs against righties. That's near the Indians' dugout and in the seats.
Lions have a pretty good chance to take home a foul ball here from game 1. This happens a lot of times when a game is rained out and you schedule a doubleheader for the next day, and the first game starts a little bit earlier than people are accustomed to, and late arriving crowd here at Progressive Field.
People got to work. One side of the stands is got to be pretty chilly. The third base side, where it's all shadow, but on the first base side, nice bright sunshine. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Michael Brantley. Nuno looking for a 1-2-3 first. D-back fan in the sun. Nuno trying to move on from that rough day Thursday against the Royals. Give Kirk Gibson some innings in this doubleheader. He's done that before. He's answered the call when they have needed some innings out of him, some length. Well, that is certainly mission 1 here today. First game of a doubleheader. Another 2-2. Called strike 3. 2 strikeouts in the first for El Nuno. We are scoreless through 1 here at Progressive Field. Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next, and by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink. Back in Cleveland, in case you were wondering, yes, Trevor Bauer still has his routines. He takes a moment before the start of every half inning, and he starts every warm-up session with that usual run up the mound. He has got a routine, and he sticks to it. The long toss, the whole thing. Mark Trumbo leads off the second. Mark getting the start as the DH here in the American League Park. He figures to play first base in the second game today. Jordan Pacheco getting the start at first this afternoon. 224 and 8 homers, and the bat continues to show great progress.
Yeah, Mark said last night he feels like he's hitting the balls he should. You know, when he first came back off the disabled list, he was chasing some sliders low and away out of the zone and chasing some high fastballs. But more recently, he's narrowed that strike zone down, and he says right now he feels like he's hitting the pitches he should.
A 7-game hitting streak. He's hit in 9 of his last 10, better than .340 during that stretch. And yeah, Mark says this is the most consistent he's been hitting pitches that he can handle. And in terms of the health physically, probably feeling as close as he's been to healthy this year. Lays off the 2-1. It's 3 balls and a strike. Mark, last 10 games, 4 extra base hits and 9 RBIs. Here's the 3-1. A leadoff walk from Bauer, who retired the side in order in the first. And here comes his former catcher, Miguel Montero. Miggy 262, 12 home runs. First pitch is fouled away, 0-1.
And as you can see, Bauer has about a 3-stage setup from the stretch position. Starts wide open as he gets his sign from his catcher, and then 1, 2, and 3, and eventually comes to a set position.
Iggy up there, Hackett 0-2. The relationship here soured quickly in Arizona. We told you earlier, Miggy felt like Bauer felt everyone there was against him, and Montero said, look, that really wasn't the point. You know, they were on his team and they wanted him to be good for the team, and maybe Bauer probably felt like he wasn't calling the right game for him back there. He said everyone was supporting Trevor Bauer while he was in Arizona. As he went, says third base umpire Mark Wegner, so Montero strikes out. Second strikeout for Trevor Bauer.
Second baseman number 2, Aaron Hill.
Brings up Aaron Hill. .249, 9 home runs for Aaron. Trying to get the bat going again this month. He's hitting an even .200 in August. Still does not have an extra base hit this month. Here's a strike, 0-1.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Mark Trumbo, the runner at first after a leadoff walk. And they have Trumbo picked off.
Mark Trumbo guesses wrong, tried to anticipate the delivery to home plate and get a maximum jump over there at first base. Unfortunately, Trevor Bauer was picking to first, threw a bad toss over there to Santana, who does a nice job of picking it out of the dirt. And clearly the ball beat Mark Trumbo to second base by a wide margin, but I'm not so sure that tag was applied before he got a foot on the base.
Aaron Hill drives that right to Tyler Holt in right field, and Bauer is out of the inning. No score in Cleveland. Night presented by Sanderson Ford, and the first 20,000 fans will get this fantastic Bob Brenly bobblehead, and then we will put on the throwback purple and teal for the game against the Rockies. And after the final out, your past D-backs favorites, including Steve Finley, Travis Lee, Brandon Webb, are scheduled to take the field for our third annual alumni game. For all the information you need and an updated list of alumni players, visit dbacks.com/alumni. Carlos Santana leads off the second against Vidal Nuno, who worked at 1-2-3 first, including a pair of strikeouts. Santana 229 and 20 homers. This is a guy that walks for somebody that's hitting under 230 on the year. Walks a ton. The on-base percentage almost 370. And so despite the low batting average, he gets on base, except this at bat where he strikes out. 3 strikeouts already for Vidal Nuno.
Yeah, it's very early, obviously, but Vidal Nuno looks like he's got about as crisp of arsenal as we've seen him have. That curveball has a lot of downward movement. His fastball has consistently been right at 90 miles per hour. We haven't seen this Vidal Nuno. Hopefully he'll be able to carry this into the latter stages of the ball game today.
Yan Gomes, the catcher. Yeah, Nuno, his last time out, 4 innings against the Royals was as far as he could make it. 5 runs, 7 hits, making some really unforgivable location mistakes. Ball was up, is all Kirk Gibson had to say in evaluating Nuno. And even his outs against Kansas City were balls that were hit pretty good in the air, said Gibby, which is why he pulled Nuno early after 4. Even though he wanted to get as many innings out of him as he could, and that's certainly the case here today with the Diamondbacks playing a doubleheader. But Nuno said after that last start that the balance and release point weren't what they should have been. He said his release point got kind of high. And in the back of his mind, every inning or often every pitch, he'd think to himself, all right, I got to drive a little more here. I got to let it go a little bit longer. Never quite got on track, never found that slot, but he appears to be in the groove here today.
Yeah, that's a tough way to go about your business as a pitcher when you're trying to adjust your mechanics from pitch to pitch. Ideally, the mechanics are something that you don't even give a second thought to. They're just automatic. And you concentrate on executing your pitches, the sequence of pitches to set up a hitter and try to get him out. But when you're thinking about where are my feet, where are my hands, am I inhaling or exhaling, are my eyes open or closed, it's pretty tough to get opposing hitters out.
I wonder after it was brought to his attention if he's thinking about those eyelids. Holmes hammers that one foul.
What was it? Nuke LaLoosh had to breathe through his eyelids.
Like the lava lizards of the Galapagos Islands. Yeah. This was from Fox Sports' Phantom Cam in the last start, and right at the release point, just close your eyes and throw it.
It's kind of the same approach I use as a hitter.
You close your eyes, you might hit it.
You never know. Swing hard just in case and close your eyes.
2-2 now. Well, El Nino, for the most part, has pitched pretty well for the D-backs. 6 starts, he's allowed 4 hits or fewer in half of them. And he has got it going here this afternoon. He has struck out 4 of the first 5 he's faced.
Well, we don't have Phantom Cam with us today, but we do have slow motion and say goodnight. Eyes closed at the point of release once again. Whatever he's doing, keep doing it. Really good curveball here in the early going.
Now here's the DH, Ryan Rayburn, with 2 outs, the former Detroit Tiger. Strike 1. Rayburn hitting just over 200 this year with 3 homers. The bat has really declined this season. Last year, his first in Cleveland, hit .272 with 16 home runs, so there's been a big drop-off this year. Rayburn has played both the corner outfield spots for Terry Francona this year. He's done some DHing as well, and he's in there as the designated hitter this afternoon. Vidal Nuno strikes out the side in order in the second. He has struck out 5 of the 6 he's faced so far. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. The rookie Jake Lamb leads it off. Nuno, he has struck out 5 of the 6 he's faced, and now Trevor Bauer's out there to start the third against rookie Jake Lamb.
Well, now's when the trouble starts for Trevor Bauer. In a statistical anomaly here, the number 1 and 2 hitters in opposing lineup this season hitting .278 against Bauer. The 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters, the middle of the lineup, the run producers, are only hitting .237, but the 7, 8, and 9 hitters are hitting .347 against Trevor Bauer.
And Jake Lamb swings at the first pitch, lifts it near the line in right. Tyler Holt tracks it down. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the third. Does that tell you that maybe he's taking the foot off the gas in the lower third?
You would think so. I mean, there might be another reason for it, but the most obvious thing would be he really bears down on the guys that could really hurt him, and then when he gets to the bottom of the order, he kind of goes into cruise control, and that's when he's given up a lot of hits this year.
Left fielder for game 1 today is Xavier Paul, another left-hand bat in the Diamondbacks starting lineup against the right-hander Power. And Paul starting his first game in the major league since last September 17th for the Reds at Houston. And so far he is 1 for 4 since joining the D-backs. Xavier Paul had a base hit and a run scored in that 9-run eighth in the win over the Rockies on Saturday night. Released by the Orioles August 3rd, and he signed with Arizona a few days after that. One and two.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks victory, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
He offered that one and strikes out. That's 3 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer. 2 down here in the third. And it brings up Jordan Pacheco. Jordan 241 on the year, 10 home runs. Hitting .214 in 10 games since he came off the DL. Missed 25 games with right shoulder tendonitis. And getting the start in game 1 of this doubleheader at first base. Trevor Bauer, first pitch strikes to 8 of the 9 he's faced so far. Oh, and 2. .96 from Bauer there. His velocity is up. A fastball that averaged 93 miles per hour last year is averaging 95 this season. And the curveball has been generating weak contact. It's getting him some swings and misses. He is still a fly ball pitcher and still has yet to show any kind of consistency, but he has, as Terry Francona mentioned earlier, shown incremental improvement this year. And he is definitely throwing harder.
And you would assume at some point in Trevor Bauer's career he will whittle that pitch selection down to just 3, maybe 4 that he can execute consistently rather than try to throw 8 or 9 different pitches.
96 for a called strike 3. Bauer has 4 strikeouts. We'll head to the home half of the third. No score. D-backs and Indians.
Actually, my first season when a fan came and asked me to sign the picture, and he told me your eyes are closed. So I was shocked, and that's one of my repertoire that I do is in my mind that is the target's there, and the arm action, the drive to the plate, it gets it there, so it gets the job done.
And that is our Geico quote of the game. Vidal Nuno, close your eyes, hope for the best. Just working for Vidal today, struck out the side last inning. Guys, the thing that he's been talking about, though, with the struggles recently, last couple of outings, the fact that the arm he feels is dragging. So as you guys talked about last inning, he's working on those mechanics.
Don't change a thing today, Jody.
No.
He's ahead of Lonnie Chisenhall 0-2 after striking out the side in order in the previous inning. It'll pop up to second base. Right to Aaron Hill, one away. Sunny day here, BB.
Yeah. You know, that's one of my pet peeves. The sunglasses on top of the hat, making sure the logo doesn't get sunburned. I mean, somebody took the time to invent a pair of flip-down sunglasses that are functional for baseball players. You wear them up when it's cloudy and you don't need them. When the ball goes up in the sun, you flip them down and you're protected and you can see the ball in the air. I just don't understand that.
Well, now everybody has a sunglasses deal.
Yeah, I get it.
You got to put the brand and the logo on the top of the cap so people can see it.
You know what, though? If you miss enough fly balls by losing them in the sun, sunglass companies don't pay you to sit home. They only pay the players that are on the field succeeding.
You see the sunglasses that she has on right there with the little Sea Indians logo on them. It is actually, how about this for great coincidences, Sunglass Giveaway Day here at the ballpark.
Really?
So if you don't happen to have a pair of flip-ups or none at all, maybe you can go get them and take them out there on the field with you.
What is this? Brought to you by the Ohio Highway Patrol.
Like Jackie Gleason. Zach Walters, fly ball right to Paul in left field, 2 down.
No, it's appropriate. It's sunglass day today, bright sunshine. Should have been umbrella night last night.
Should have been arc night.
Man, did it rain.
Those cells just pop up over the lake out of nowhere when you look at the radar. Well, there's not much behind this, and then suddenly there's a whole mess of green behind it. What happened? Well, they just kind of form on their own, we're told, over Lake Erie, and then here they come. Tyler Holt, just his 3rd plate appearance in the big leagues. Diamondback fan has got the Indian sunglasses on there. Yeah, they do have a Smokey and the Bandit kind of look to them, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And you know my theory. If it's for free, it's for me. A Diamondbacks fan, do you take a giveaway on the road? Sure. As long as it doesn't have a huge Cleveland logo on it. I think it says Fox Sports.
Yeah, Fox Sports Time Ohio here. With the great Bruce Drennan and company providing some afternoon programming before Indians baseball games. There it is out on the home run porch behind the left field foul pole. Tyler Holt has the game's first base hit for either side. A 2-out single here in the 3rd. And that's his first hit in the major leagues. 10th round pick by the Indians out of Florida State.
Yeah, struck well. Fastball out over the plate. Guides it right back up the middle of the field. Congratulations to Tyler Holt. Don't do it again the rest of the day.
Nice catch, Hayes. Here's the souvenir baseball in the Indians dugout. 2-out base runner now for the leadoff man, Jason Kipnis, who struck out his first time. Here's the Quicken Loans Arena through there. The once and now again home of LeBron James, right across the street from us at Progressive Field. And they are fired up here in Cleveland. They got Johnny Football. They got LeBron James. Maybe Kevin Love soon couple of weeks.
We got bad news for Cleveland sports fans, though. They're going to be playing the Arizona Rattlers in the Arena Football League Championship in a couple of weeks, and they're going to have to go down.
The Gladiators, are they? Yeah, I think they had a big sign outside the arena, in fact. They're getting all set for that. A ball and a strike on Jason Kipnis. There it is. 1-2 now.
If LeBron James really wanted to immediately get himself back in the good graces of Cleveland sports fans, he should play wide receiver for the Gladiators.
I mean, you know, there might be a slight chance of injury. That probably wouldn't go over all that well. They finally just got him back.
Yeah.
I bet he'd be pretty good, though. Del Nuno has been a strike thrower, not just in this inning, but in this ball game. 5 strikeouts so far. He's ahead of Kipnis, 1-2. Roller to second base. Easy play for Aaron Hill, and Nuno strands the 2-out single. Will head to the 4th at Progressive Field. No score. Brought to you in part by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland set for the 4th inning. Diamondbacks and Tribe. First of a double dip here at the ballpark. What they call a traditional doubleheader, which means there is just one admission. Finish one game, give yourself about a half hour, and get them back out there. And Trevor Bauer back out there to start the 4th. So far he has struck out 4, walked 1. He's yet to give up a base hit.
In these quote-unquote traditional doubleheaders, it's not unusual to see the Game 2 starting pitcher and the bullpen catcher heading down to the bullpen as the teams are coming off the field from Game 1.
Well, Bauer, given all his antics in warming up, he might not be able to pitch the back end of a doubleheader. No. He might be out there doing somersaults in center field or something in the middle of Game 1. There's a strike to Inciarte, who tried to get timeout, not granted by Andy Fletcher.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I watched most of Trevor Bauer's warm-up procedure today, and geez, he was out there at about 3:15. Most pitchers give themselves about 20 minutes. They stretch a little bit, they run a little bit, and they play a little catch, and then they go to the bullpen and start working off the mound. I mean, Trevor Bauer, for half an hour, was putting in a workout.
It's like the circus is in town when he's out there doing backflips and somersaults and long tossing and all that, and all the stuff you've heard so much about. So the answer is yes, he's still doing all that. 2-2 now on Ender Inciarte.
Which explains why he's starting Game 1.
Ender chases that one in the dirt. Gomes completes the strikeouts. That 5 for Bauer so far. Now, this is the routine that Diamondback fans will remember. We flash back to Trevor Bauer's days as a D-back. He went through a whole routine.
And all of it is designed to do something to help him prepare to go out and pitch a major league ball game. I think a lot of, especially older school pitching coaches, would say it's excessive and probably doesn't need to do all of this. But as long as he has success, as long as his arm and the rest of his body stays healthy, and he's able to take the ball every 5th day, I guess you just have to live with it for the time being.
And that last portion, you saw him doing the long toss from dead center field right to the corner of the left field foul line. He was doing that not too long before his start here this afternoon. 1-0 to Didi Gregorius, who grounded out his first time. Terry Francona is enormously patient as a manager. He has always been considered a player's manager, has great relationships with the guys in that dugout. And I imagine that if you had to find a guy to kind of deal with all this and deflect it and not make a big deal out of it, it might be Tito.
Yeah, I think he's handled it's not really a controversy, but there's been questions raised about Trevor Bauer's warm-up procedure and what's that going to do to him short term and long term. And Tito just lets it roll right off. All we care about is him going out there and getting batters out and giving us a chance to win.
It might not be a distraction, might not even be that big a deal, but it is a sideshow, and it is, well, let's face it, it's baggage. It's something that has to be addressed when the questions come up. There's an easy play for Walters in left, 2 down.
I mean, not every pitcher is cookie cutter and does exactly the same thing. Guys have little alternate versions of things that all pitchers do, but as I said, Bauer carries it to the extreme.
David Peralta struck out his first time. But there has been improvement. Bauer's always had one big issue, and that's throwing strikes. This year he's shown better control, a walk rate that's in single digits for the first time in his pro career. And Tito has said that Bauer's come a long way. He's actually been one of the Indians' better strike throwers for the last couple of months. A pretty good strike thrower for Cleveland with a number of pitches, not just the fastball.
Last year it was quite the struggle for him, however. He only pitched 17 innings at the major league level, struck out 11, walked 16 in his 17 innings of work.
And he has seen time in the minor leagues this year, made 7 starts at AAA Columbus. Pitched very well there, 4-1, a 2.15 ERA as Peralta yanks that one foul. And the walks at both levels were an issue for Bauer last year. 22 starts at AAA last season. 73 walks in 121 innings. He's ahead of Peralta, a ball and 2 strikes. Chases the 2-2. Now 6 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer, who has now retired the last 8 he's faced. A pitcher's duel here in Cleveland. No score.
As good as we've seen him this year, fastball up and in to get a swinging strike right there, and then a series of breaking balls here, really commanding that pitch well. And I give Miguel Montero a lot of credit for recognizing that Nuno has a good curveball today. He's gone to it a lot more often than we've seen him use that pitch in the past.
6 strikeouts for Bauer, 5 for Nuno. Mike Aviles will lead off the home half of the 4th.
Split is usually turned completely around. Normally Vidal gets a lot of his outs on fly balls, which we've talked about at Chase Field, a dangerous way to go about making a living, but punching guys out and getting some grounders today.
There's a grounder. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Past a diving Jake Lamb. Aviles will head for second. Xavier Paul waving that the ball is stuck in the seats or by the tarp over there. So once again here in Cleveland, the tarp is in play. In fact, it just swallowed up the baseball. So a double for Aviles. That's his 11th of the year.
Second time through the lineup. Diamondbacks are going to have to be a little more careful how you use that curveball, and Nuno's going to have to make sure he puts it in a good location. I mean, he really mowed down this Indians lineup first time through, and a lot of it was done with that big curveball. That time Aviles all over a curveball for a double off the tarp.
And now the leadoff man is in scoring position for the best hitters in this lineup. Brantley, Santana, Gomes all due up. Michael Brantley struck out looking his first time to end the first. He's 0 for 1. Fouled away, a ball and a strike. Michael Brantley, this is a guy that enjoys his home ballpark, Progressive Field. Hitting better than 360 here. He's homered 10 times.
And we talked about Michael Brantley last night. This is one of the better players in baseball that not too many people outside the Cleveland area even know about. This guy can really hit.
One of the better players in the game, says Terry Francona. 1-1 is foul by Sandy Alomar Jr. down at first.
And once again, even though that ball was pulled foul down the first baseline, a better approach that time on the Nuno curveball. You do one of two things: either start mixing in your other pitches a little bit more, the hard slider, throw a few more fastballs, or make sure that curveball is in a really good location. There's the slider right there.
2-2.
I mentioned I give Miggy a lot of credit. When a pitcher goes out there to take the mound, even he doesn't always know what's going to work on a given day. But it was apparent very early on that Nuno had a good feel for that curveball. So Miggy went to it. He threw sometimes 2 or 3 in a row to Indians hitters because he just knew that his guy was feeling it early in the game. But when the hitters start to make adjustments and look for that curveball, it's up to you to then make the appropriate counter change. Start calling for some of the other pitches.
Got the lights on here at the ballpark. You can see the shadows from the light standards.
And the lights here look like toothbrushes.
Yeah, they do.
You know, most of the lights at the ballpark are
those big banks of lights.
Big banks of lights. They're wide.
Nuno just misses there, and it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So they create this series of shadows. Oh, I'd have the lights on a bright sunny day like this, but they know what they're doing.
Really no clouds to be seen, at least from our vantage point. Sometimes when you have a day with those bright sunshine and the clouds come over, it helps to have the lights on at all times. But doesn't seem to be the case here today.
That's John Adams' seat. The Tribe drummer, I guess he had to work. He's got to make a living. They don't pay him to hit the drum. So Well, you don't hear that familiar drum beat. It goes all the way back to the old Municipal Stadium here in Cleveland. Director Mitch Riggin pointing out that he doesn't want to work. He just wants to bang on the drum all day.
Todd Rundgren song.
3 balls and 2 strikes. That's a tough out. He's hit safely in 4 straight, 10 of his last 11. Batting almost .430 during that span. Mike Aviles is the runner at second after a leadoff double. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Michael Brantley. Right to Pacheco at first, and the throw to second catches Aviles off the bag, and there's a bang double play turned by the D-back infield. That ball looked like it had a shot to get over the head of Pacheco at first. That had to be what Aviles was thinking.
Jerry Francona waiting on their video coordinator to send word to the dugout. Very close out there at second base. Apparently the Indians felt there wasn't clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call, so they don't bother to challenge.
Tom Woodring, the second base umpire down there. So quickly 2 outs for Nuno. And here's Carlos Santana. Struck out his first time. Take another look at just how close it was. Yeah. That's a really good call. Popped him up. Foul ground, first base side, Pacheco. Looks like he's got room, and that's the inning. We are through 4. Nuno versus Bauer. No score in Cleveland.
With you, and Barbara Gibson is the proud mom of Kirk Gibson, manager of the Diamondbacks. Barbara, I know you love to come and see your son. You were in Cincinnati. When you're nearby in Michigan, you like to come in and see your son manage this team, don't you?
Yes, I certainly do. I've been following him for a long time, ever since actually grade school. I've been watching him. Yeah.
And I know you were here last night. That was quite the delay, wasn't it?
It was a long delay. Happily, it doesn't happen very often, so that's good. But we're making up so we get to see the game today, the second game. So that's good.
Kirk said he knew you would stay because you didn't want to be a bad example for the other fans. So here you are, and you have of course, Jackie, and her grandkids are here. Jackie's Kirk's sister. Let me ask you though, you and I were just talking, and we talked a couple of years ago in Pittsburgh, and you love the game of baseball. And what do you think of this team right now? I know you are a big fan of David Peralta, aren't you?
Yes, I am. He's coming along, and I am very lucky to be able to see them working on improving and pitching and all of that kind of thing. I like it. I watch it even when I'm home.
Yeah.
I get to see the games, so that's good.
And you don't miss the D-backs game, do you?
No, I miss seeing them because it's nothing like being here, actually being here.
What does it mean to you to be able to see your son out here managing this ball club?
Well, you know, a lot of people have asked me that. And, you know, when I look at him, it's just amazing to me where he's come from and how hard he has worked to get where he is today. So he's a hard worker.
And I know that his intensity is something that everyone knows about Kirk Gibson. Where does that come from?
Well, I think his father instilled a lot in that. He was never able to play. It was the time that you didn't play, you worked. And but he always, when he got his son boy, he'd make Kirk stand in the backyard and play catch and play catch and play catch, and Kirk absolutely hated it. But you know, it's paid off, and the figuring out what's going on, and he's really spending a lot of time trying to get these younger players ready to come where we are now today.
Yes, no question. Barbara, it's always great to talk to you. Great to see you out here, and congratulations on your wonderful family. I know you have 12 great grandchildren now, right?
Waiting for the 13th in November.
Wonderful. Barbara, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Go D-backs.
All right, D-backs #1 fan right here, guys. Also wanted to mention, Barbara said she loved David Peralta's steal of home, said it was one of the best plays she's ever seen.
And she knows what she's watching, too.
Yes,
She's
she
watched
does.
a lot of baseball. Nicely done. 2 quick outs for Trevor Bauer here in the 5th. He's retired 10 in a row. And he'll face Aaron Hill, who flat out his first time. Two and 0. There's a strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. Comfortable crowd here today at Progressive Field. Enjoying that sunshine, just letting it soak in. Either that or there's a blimp overhead. It's a foul ball, 2 and 2. It was a long night last night.
Yeah, I was just saying maybe he fell asleep in his seat last night and he's been there ever since.
Just transfixed. 2 and 2. Just missed with that pitch, and it's full. Andy Fletcher, the plate umpire.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time. Few umpires call that high breaking ball, the one that just barely catches the top of the zone, because the pitch looks like it's over the batter's head as it's on its way. I think we need to send an usher down with a mirror to that one fan. I'm not so sure.
Weekend at Bernie's down there. 3 and 2. 7 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer. He has retired 11 in a row. He has yet to give up a base hit. No score in Cleveland. They're season ticket holders like family, and if you want to become part of our family in 2015, just give us a call, because next year's season tickets are on sale right now. You can enjoy access to exclusive special events, take advantage of our flexible 12-month payment plans, and you will guarantee that you're getting the best seats at the best prices. For more information online, dbacks.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Chase Field in 2015. Well, Trevor Bauer and Vidal Nuno, a pitcher's duel here as Yan Gomes sends the first pitch out to Ender Inciarte in center. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the home half of the 5th. Bauer has yet to give up a base hit. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's retired the last 11 he's faced. Here's Ryan Rayburn, who struck out his first time. Nuno has given up a single and a double. He's got 5 strikeouts. There's a strike, 0-1. BB, I'm a little concerned about that fan that was down there. It looks a little too Weekend at Bernie's-ish for comfort. Can we send a guy down there? Oh, here we go. Sir? Sir. He's all right. Didn't want anyone at home to worry.
Well, there's nothing going on offensively. Obviously, he's not a big fan of pitcher's duels. Ooh, peanut for breakfast? There you go.
1-2. It was a long night last night. 3-hour, 40-minute delay. Pop up around the second base bag. Aaron Hill and Didi Gregorius. It's Didi, 2 up, 2 down here in the 5th.
Well, the great radio voice of the Indians, Tom Hamilton, came in the booth between innings, and I ran into Tom in the hall last night during that lengthy rain delay, and he said, "I've been here long enough. We're not playing this game. I've got a long drive home. I'm leaving." And he grabbed his bag and was out the door, and 15 minutes later, he came back in the door. They called him and said, "We're going to play at 11:30. You better get back here." And, of course, he hustled back, got here just in time for the game to be called off.
One of the all-time greats.
Well, he's a beauty.
And his son was, he just told us, a teammate of Andrew Chafin's at Kent State.
Yeah, his son's a really good ball player.
Lonnie Chisenhall popped up his first time.
He's had a couple of sons, actually, that played at Kent State.
Yeah. His son Nick recently graduated from Kent State. Played on that 2012 College World Series team. And he's in the Indians minor league system right now. He's got another son, Brad, who will go to Kent in the fall on a baseball scholarship. Ball and 2 strikes to Lonnie Chisenhall.
Of course, Kent State, a member of the prestigious Mid-American Conference.
Yes, very prestigious.
And Kent State, Thurman Munson, Steve Stone, Andrew Chafin. Can't go much further than that.
Proud history. That's the same conference as Ohio, right?
Yes, indeed.
Making sure.
Yes, indeed.
Chisenhall reaches down and pokes that into shallow center. Ender Inciarte has to come a long way in, but he tracks it down. And the pitcher's duel continues. No score through 5 in Cleveland. Ender Inciarte, come on down. D-backs looking for their first hit. Jake Lamb leads off the 6th when we come back. Stars, hard to argue with the efforts by these two starting pitchers, Vidal Nuno and Trevor Bauer. Nuno so far has given up only 2 hits. He's got 5 strikeouts. Trevor Bauer has not allowed a hit through 5. He's retired the last 11 D-backs he's faced. He has walked 1 and struck out 7. I just got a tweet, BB, on the Twitter from Matthew Blake, who sent out a tweet saying, hey, I'm the only D-backs fan here in my section. I'm in section 117. And I said, well, just wave to us and we'll get you on camera. And Matt, checking the Twitter between innings, has seen the tweet, and now there he is. So there you go, Matt. Thanks for representing the D-backs. Get a shot of section 117. There he is, right in the aisle. It's like those guys in Major League. It was too high.
Too high? What do you mean too high?
Jake Lamb leads off the 6th. He flied out his first time. Lamb, Paul, and Pacheco, lower third of the D-backs order here in the 6th. John Adams, tribe drummer, is here, and he is a big-time celebrity in Cleveland, as well he should be. 2-0. D-backs trying to get a hit in the hit column against Bauer. Jake Lamb coming off a 2-hit day against the Rockies on Sunday at Chase Field. He is 3 for 15 in the big league so far. And he's ahead, 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4. Second Diamondback base runner this afternoon. Second walk issued by Bauer. Fans, it's that time again. Tweet us your fan photo with the Twitter and the hashtag and the whole thing, AZFanPhoto, for your chance to have your fan photo shown in our game broadcast a little later today. It's brought to you by AT&T, and thanks to Matt for getting out there on the Twitter and reaching out to the broadcast booth. Leadoff man aboard for Xavier Paul, a strikeout victim his first time up. That ends a stretch of 11 straight retired by Trevor Bauer. He's having a problem finding the strike zone here.
You mentioned the second walk in the ballgame. Mark Trumbo walked to lead off the second inning, but then got picked off at first base. Bauer hasn't pitched out of the stretch very much at all today. And sometimes when a pitcher's cruising along out of the windup for 5 innings of a ball game and then suddenly find yourself in the stretch position, it can be a little hard to regain that strike zone.
Especially a guy like him who seems to have so much involved here with the delivery and the timing and the mechanics and the whole thing. Still does that front foot thing. Xavier Paul hits a foul ball right by Santana at first.
Santana doesn't really shuffle far off the bag there at first after holding on Jake Lamb with a left-handed hitter at the plate, perhaps anticipating a ball hit down that first base line. So normally a first baseman will try to shuffle off 2 or 3 steps and get out there in a better defensive position after holding on the runner, but occasionally with the left-handed hitter they just kind of pivot off the bag and hold their ground.
A ball and a strike to Xavier Paul. Santana was of course the catcher here for a while. He was supposed to be the third baseman during spring training. He worked almost exclusively at third this spring. And they've had a lot of injuries here, Nick Swisher among them, so they had to move Santana over to first, and then Lonnie Chisenhall slid back into his old spot at third. And he hit a ton in the first half, so they've sort of settled on Chisenhall at third and Santana at first with the emergence of Yan Gomes behind the plates. 1-2 to Paul. Base hit, that is down the right field line, a fair ball. Jake Lamb heads for third. And the Diamondbacks are in the hit column against Trevor Bauer.
And Trevor Bauer gets a nice round of applause from those here in attendance at Game 1. Nice hit by Xavier Paul, picked on what appeared to be a hanging split finger, maybe a hanging changeup, and good read by Jake Lamb. He knew where right fielder Tyler Holt was positioned out there, and when he sees that ball get over the head of the first baseman, he's pretty sure he can easily advance on to third base, and does so.
So the first two have reached for the D-backs in the sixth. They're on the corners. Nobody out for Jordan Pacheco, who struck out looking his first time up. And the command is definitely not as sharp for Bauer in this inning as it had been in the previous five. Pacheco now at .239 on the year. One was fouled back. Jordan Pacheco is hitting .236 when he was picked up from the Rockies in early June. He's hit .250 in 18 games since he joined the D-backs, but he's had only 6 starts. This is his 4th start of the season at first base. 2 on, nobody out, 1-1.
That was a legitimate slider. He'll throw a cutter and a slider. The cutter is usually in the mid to upper 80s, the slider in the low 80s. That one started right on the outer third of the plate and then bottomed out away from Jordan Pacheco.
1-2 pitches grounded to short. And the Indians are able to turn the double play, but Jake Lamb scores from third, and the Diamondbacks take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, no RBI on a double play ball, but the Diamondbacks on the board first here this afternoon in this pitcher's duel. And it's that point of the ball game where you start to wonder, if you're an Indians fan, maybe that pregame routine of Trevor Bauer is too exhausting and he's just running out of gas here in the middle innings. It's not uncommon for him to reach the 100-pitch mark early in a ball game, and you combine that with that 1-hour exhaustive workout that he goes through before a start, and maybe there's something to be said for backing down just a little bit and possibly pitching deeper into the game.
On one on Ender Inciarte, who was popped up and struck out. Ender up the middle. Kipnis won't get to it, and Ender Inciarte is aboard with a 2-out single. So Ender has now had a base hit in the last 13 games in which he's had an at-bat.
Just gets it by Trevor Bauer on into center field. No chance for Kipnis to get there from his second base position. He was playing Inciarte to pull just a little bit.
Ender becoming more and more of a consistent offensive contributor as a rookie here. Two-out base runner for Didi. And Bauer mentioned the first pitch strikes to 8 of the first 9 he faced in the ball game. But since then, he has started 8 of the last 10 off with a 1-0 count. And he is just clearly not as sharp as he was the first 5 innings. There is that pattern we gave you earlier, Bob, where he talked about how if he has trouble, it is in the first 3 innings, it seems, for the first time through the order. Opponents hitting .311 the first time they faced Bauer, .274 the second time, .248 the third. And based on that record, you thought maybe he'll get better as the game goes on, but he's backslid a bit here as Inciarte is in there with his 7th stolen base of the year.
That's the 10th stolen base in 11 attempts when Bauer's been on the mound this year. Gomes behind the plate actually throws very well. He's thrown out 32% of the attempted base stealers this year, but Inciarte got the jump on the pitcher that time.
And he's in scoring position with 2 outs and a 2-0 count on Didi Gregorius. Three and 0, just not throwing strikes in this inning. That's what we were talking about a moment ago. He thought based on this, the way he started, he might really get tough as the game wore on, but that has not been the case here in the 6th. Shadows creeping across half the infield now. 3-0 to Didi. Popped up to center field. Easy play for Michael Brantley. Diamondbacks strand one, but they get one. Home half of the 6th on the way. It's 1-0 Arizona. Cleveland doubleheader today. Diamondbacks and Indians. D-backs have a 1-0 lead as we start the home half of the 6th. Zach Walters, first pitch swing against Vidal Nuno near the Diamondback dugout, but out of play for Jordan Pacheco.
Now that wind you talked about earlier in the ball game blowing from left field to right field really helped push that one out of play. It looked like Pacheco was going to have a chance at that ball right over near the camera pit, but just continued to drift until eventually hit off the top of the dugout.
This is a very tall ballpark. It sounds funny, but the sort of the way the architecture is, it gets up there pretty high, but once you get a ball in that high sky, the wind will really take it. And you see 3 sections of seats right there, and there's that flag out there in right center field.
And then you got the bleachers and the scoreboard in left field. It's pretty high too.
Vidal Nuno so far has given up only 2 hits. He's got 5 strikeouts and no walks. In fact, he has had only 2 3-ball counts all afternoon long. And he's doing exactly what the Diamondbacks needed him to do, which is be efficient and get deep into the ball game. 1-2 on Walters, who fouls that one right by Sandy Alomar Jr. This is Zach Walters. Originally a D-backs draft pick, 9th round selection by the Diamondbacks in 2010 out of the University of San Diego. D-backs dealt him at the deadline 3 years ago for Jason Marquis. Indians just picked him up at the trade deadline this year in a deal with the Washington Nationals as Drupal Cabrera went to D.C. And so Walters is here getting just his 3rd start in left field in the big leagues. One with Washington, one here with Cleveland. And Nuno does have to be careful. This is a switch hitter. And it's a small sample size, hasn't played a lot as a rookie, but so far he has been much better from the right-hand side. All 3 of his big league homers have come as a right-hand hitter. That's out of play, still 1-2. And he came up in the Nationals minor league system as a middle infielder, played primarily shortstop, very little in the outfield, still only 24. But they believe there is enough power in this bat to profile as an outfielder, and that's really where they're looking for some help. So he has gone from shortstop to outfield.
29 homers last year in minor leagues at Syracuse.
2-2. The University of San Diego is the same program that produced Chris Bryant, who has just had a sensational year for the Cubs in their minor league system, done nothing but hit home runs.
It'd be interesting to see if the Cubs decide to call Bryant up this season. They've already got their first baseman of the present and future in Anthony Rizzo. Javier Baez playing second base as that one banged through the left side for a leadoff base hit. Starlin Castro, their young shortstop, even though he's already got 4 or 5 years in the big leagues, and Chris Bryant figures to be the third baseman of the future.
They're starting to make their way into the north side of Chicago. We've already seen Arizmendi, Alcantara, and Baez, as you mentioned. Albert Almora is a terrific center field prospect they have. Walters aboard with a leadoff single. And Tyler Holt steps in. He singled back in the third. His first major league base hit.
I like the way Miggy came up ready to throw that time it wasn't a wild pitch, but it certainly missed its spot by a wide margin. Holt had to move his feet to get out of the way, and watch Miggy react. Chases that ball out of the strike zone and comes up ready to throw to first. That base runner at first base, when he sees a wide pitch like that, sometimes will take an extra step or two on his secondary lead and will be susceptible to a pickoff. Same thing on a pitch in the dirt. We've seen base runners do it all season long. They read the trajectory of the pitch. They get the jump, take off for second base, and if you can pick that ball cleanly out of the dirt, you can occasionally pick guys off first base.
And the base runners on first and second are out there in the bright sunlight, but home plate, that whole home plate area encased in shadow right now, and it's got to be a little tricky to pick up that baseball if you're running the bases.
It's been very tough to hit through the first 6 innings of this ball game. It's just going to get tougher over the next couple of innings as those shadows continue to move across the infield.
3 hits for the Indians, 2 for the D-backs. As Tyler Holt strikes out, that's 6 strikeouts for Nuno, and his first since he struck out the side in order back in the second.
Elevated fastball up out of the strike zone, gets a swing and a miss from Tyler Holt. You know, we talk about hitting your spots, and for Nuno, a lot of times that means throwing the ball out of the strike zone, especially that 4-seam fastball, the elevated fastball up and away from a right-handed hitter, because then it sets up the curveball that he was throwing earlier in the ball game.
Jason Kipnis knocks that one by Pacheco, and Walters will head for third. Throw gets behind Lamb. Nuno is backing up, and Walters will have to stay put, although Kipnis sneaks in at second.
Walters hesitated slightly going around second base, which gave David Peralta an opportunity to wind it up and really let it go to third base. Big Lamb just couldn't come up with that hop. That was a hot one-hopper coming back into the infield right there. Unfortunately, Vidal Nuno right there where he's supposed to be, backing up the play at third base to make sure the Indians didn't get a run.
That scored a single E9, error on Peralta for the throw. You've got Walters at third, Kipnis at second, and John Adams is doing his thing out in center as Mike Avila steps up. He did not go. says first base umpire Sean Barber. Aviles doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 2.
This will be a real test for Vidal Nuno and the Diamondbacks right here. As you like to say, we're getting into the sharp part of the Indians batting order right here.
Nice. Popped him up. Montero near the screen, has room, and he makes the catch. A big out number 2 for Vidal Nuno here in the 6th. And a lot of work to do now as Michael Brantley steps in.
Never took his eye off of it. Tracked it all the way right in front of the barrier behind home plate, and then quickly recovers to make sure that the runner from third doesn't try to tag and come on home.
Brantley struck out looking in the first, lined into a double play his last time up. One more big out to get for Nuno in the 6th. Out of play, 0-1. Michael Brantley's big season didn't even start out that hot, but great things often have small beginnings. Hit .255 in April, did have 4 homers in the season's first month, but since May the 1st, this guy has hit .344 with an on-base percentage right at .400. Walters is the runner at third. Kipnis at second. 0-1 to Brantley. On the ground to second. Aaron Hill can't knock it down. Walters scores. Here comes Kipnis, and the Indians take a 2-1 lead.
Aaron Hill extended that glove hand just a little bit too far this time as he ranges to his left. He leaves his feet. It looked like the ball actually either got underneath or off the heel of his glove and on into right field to drive home a couple.
Third hit in the inning for the Tribe. Here's Carlos Santana, who's 0 for 2. And so Vidal Nuno, much like Trevor Bauer, rolling along, but hits a speed bump in the 6th. This is well hit to left. Xavier Paul will have to play it off the wall. Brantley into third. He will stop there. And Carlos Santana has his 18th double.
Hardest hit ball in the game against Vidal Nuno. Got out there on an off-speed pitch and one hops the wall in left field. Fortunately, no issues for Xavier Paul out there in left field. Got a good throw off to Didi Gregorius, the cutoff man, to hold Brantley at third.
Evan Marshall heating up in the D-backs bullpen as Yan Gomes, the catcher, steps in. Here comes Kirk Gibson to the mound. Maybe not asking for the baseball as of yet. Nuno at 89 pitches.
You do have a base open at first, and I'm sure this is a dual meeting here. It stalls for some time. Actually, he's going to go to the bullpen. I thought maybe he was going to talk it over with Nuno, whether to put Gomes on first base and go after Rayburn, but he's going to make the change.
He wants the rookie right-hander. Pitching change in Cleveland. Indians now lead at 2-1. Back in a moment. brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox. Sunny skies for a change in Cleveland, Ohio. But a storm front for the Diamondbacks here in the bottom of the sixth. Indians have scored 2 to take a 2-1 lead. And on for the Diamondbacks, trying to get that final out here in the sixth. Rookie right-hander Evan Marshall. He has not allowed an inherited runner to score this year in 38 appearances. He comes in with the Indians, having men on second and third and 2 outs. Got Brantley, the runner, at third. His 2-run single gave the Indians the lead. Santana on second after a double. And now Marshall with 2 down and first base open will work to Yan Gomes. Gomes 0 for 2. He has struck out and flied out.
What was that? Oh, it looked like a pretty good pitch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bounce to third, right to Jake Lamb. Throws him out, and Marshall strands 2 more inherited runners, but the Indians take a 2-1 lead as we head to the 7th here in Cleveland. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. David Peralta leads off the 7th. Sports 1 returns with a doubleheader as Derek Jeter and the Yankees take on the Tampa Bay Rays. And then it's Matt Holliday and the Cardinals against the Padres. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on Fox Sports 1 and also streams live on Fox Sports Go. From the streets of Cleveland, 7th inning. Trevor Bauer back out there doing his thing. David Peralta, Mark Trumbo, Miguel Montero, 3, 4, and 5 in the Diamondbacks 7th. Bauer now with a 2-1 lead. So far he has walked 2. He has struck out 7, given up only 2 hits. Peralta 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. David Peralta's got a birthday coming up on the road trip. He'll turn 27 tomorrow, in fact. Maybe he'll do his celebratory rain dance that we saw last night. Probably the highlight of the ball game.
Yeah, players had a lot of energy to burn off and a lot of time to do it.
3 hours and 40 minutes worth, in fact. 80 pitches now for Bauer. Broken bat roller. That is a foul ball. This was last night during that 3-hour and 40-minute rain delay. The funny part was David suddenly turned around and discovered that the camera behind him was actually pointed at him. And then the video kind of went viral and everyone was watching it on their phones.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, they weren't out there the whole rain delay, but Henry Blanco and Tuffy Gosowicz just sitting out there on the bench, talking baseball, talking catching, watching it rain.
Henry actually is lining up a manager's job in the Winter League.
Nice.
Back home in Venezuela, he'll be a winter ball manager this year.
People said that for years toward the end of his playing career, that Henry Blanco was a guy that would probably be on the fast track to a manager's job in the major leagues.
Hank White. Peralta is in there. Peralta strikes out for the 3rd time today. And that's now 8 strikeouts for Trevor Bauer.
Bauer's thrown so many different deliveries, not only to David Peralta, but the entire Diamondbacks lineup. They caught him looking for something else there on the 3-2 pitch and just snuck a fastball right down the middle of the plate.
So Peralta coming off a rare 0 for 5 Sunday against the Rockies, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts today. And with a 1 away, here's Mark Trumbo. He has walked and popped up 0 for 1. Big swing and a miss there. A 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Knocks that one the other way into right field. A 1-out single for Mark Trumbo, who's now hit in 8 straight games. And that's been a big part of his game, Bob, and it's something he talked about when he got to Arizona. Being able in this league, I know this is an interleague game, but being able to use the whole field and hit the ball to right.
Well, yeah, as you can imagine, a big, strong power hitter like Mark Trumbo, they're going to work him away an awful lot, especially with breaking pitches away. And lately he's been staying on him, driving him to the opposite field. As we mentioned early in the game, he says he feels right now like when he gets a hittable pitch, he's putting a good swing on it. That was a crisp line drive into right field.
Miguel Montero 0 for 2. Mark Trumbo has now hit in 8 straight and 10 of his last 11. Miggy so far has struck out and grounded out. He's got a 4-game hit streak on the line. 95, 1-1.
And you know, given their past history right now, Miguel Montero would give his eye teeth to hit one out of here. And that last swing looked like it. See the ball, shorten it up a little bit, put that good quick swing on it we've seen all season long.
Getting fastballs. He's down 1-2. I guess you get down 1-2 on Bauer. It throws everything, the rosin bag up there at you. It's a tough spot. Thinking about what might be coming next. Big loopy breaking ball. That's a jam shot, fair ball down the left field line. Trumbo heads for third. They will stop him there. And Miguel Montero has his 19th double. Looked like an accidental double. Tried to go with that high breaking ball again that he didn't get the call on earlier in the ball game.
Probably not the way Miguel Montero envisioned it, but that puts Trevor Bauer in a world of trouble right here. A hanging breaking ball up and out over the plate. Miggy tried to check his swing, but with Lonnie Chisenhall playing way off of that third baseline, it gets down into that left field corner, putting D-backs at second and third.
And Aaron Hill coming up. So Miggy's now hit in 5 straight. In 6 of the 7 games he's played this month, a chance for Aaron Hill. He's 0 for 2.
Indians are willing to concede the tying run here. A ground ball anywhere on the infield other than right back to the mound, and Mark Trumbo should be able to score from third base.
Cleveland bullpen gets busy. A ball and a strike to Aaron Hill. Mark Trumbo is the tying run at third. Miguel Montero the go-ahead run at second. 1 out here in the 7th. Nick Hagedorn, the left-hander, getting ready. In there for a strike, 1-2. Bounces it in front of home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Hard slider in the dirt after his fastest fastball of the game at 96. Looks like Bauer might be emptying the tank right here. I think he realizes this is a crucial juncture of the ball game with a couple runners in scoring position. He knows he's done his job up to this point. Might as well leave it all out there on the mound.
2-2 is bounced to short. This will get the run in. Aviles throws out Hill, but Trumbo scores from third, and the Diamondbacks have tied it up 2-2.
Listen to Trevor Bauer grunt. Went Nolan Ryan on us out there on the mound. Another fastball at 96 gets that ground ball to short. Aaron Hill retired at first base, but the run comes home.
Diamondbacks scored their first run when Jordan Pacheco hit into a double play back in the 6th, and now an RBI ground out for Hill has tied it up. Still have the go-ahead run in third with 2 outs for Jake Lamb, who walked and scored his first time. Tough to see on that first base side. Carlos Santana down at first base for Cleveland. Shades on top of the hat. He's got some eye black on. Does that help you at all?
A little bit. A little bit. Not when you're looking right up into the sun.
1-2.
97 from Bauer. I mentioned it. He looks like he understands that this is probably his last inning of work, and he's just letting it fly. Mechanics kind of came apart a little bit there at the end of that delivery.
2-2 pitch. Diamondbacks will strand the go-ahead run at third, but they get the tying run across. Bauer might be done here. A little exchange with Miguel Montero there seemed very friendly. 9 strikeouts for Bauer, but we are tied up. Stretch time in Cleveland, game 1. Swing double down the left field line. He ended the inning at third base, and at the end of the top of this inning, he and Trevor Bauer crossed paths. All appeared to be friendly.
Yeah, looked cordial enough. I'm not a lip reader, but a little nod of the head, maybe a nice piece of hitting, whatever it was, but no incident.
So we're on to the home half here in a 2-2 ball game. Evan Marshall back out there after getting Yan Gomes. A big out by Marshall there to win the bottom of the 6th. And he'll work to Ryan Rayburn, Lonnie Chisenhall, and Zach Walters. 6, 7, and 8 scheduled in the Cleveland 7th. And now we're going to get a pinch hitter here. It looks like Chris Dickerson will step up and take the at bat for Ryan Rayburn. So a left-hand hitter in there for the right-hand hitting Rayburn for Terry Francona. And Dickerson, 2 for his last 23, steps in to lead off the 7th.
In the American League, under the American League rules, you can pinch hit for your designated hitter, and now Chris Dickerson becomes the designated hitter. Where it gets a little sticky is if you insert your designated hitter into the ball game as a position player. At that point, the pitcher has to hit for himself.
So you lose the DH.
Yes.
Dickerson singled and scored the only run of the ball game last night. In the 3rd, came in on the Kipnis RBI double. All that, of course, washed off the books. He got the start in left field. 2-1 now. Dickerson, 26 games with the Indians this year. Made his Cleveland debut July 7th. After he was picked up about a month ago from Pittsburgh for a player to be named. This is a guy that has bounced around Reds, Brewers, Yankees, Orioles, Pirates, and now the Indians. Three balls and 2 strikes. Career numbers for Chris Dickerson. UNLV, Runnin' Rebels, 16th round pick back in 03. And Evan Marshall issues a leadoff walk. Fans, FoxSportsArizona.com, all the online local sports coverage you won't find anywhere else. Reaction from the D-back clubhouse here in Cleveland. Rookie John Brown. People are excited about him in Cardinals camp. And Paul Bissonnette takes Ice Bucket Challenge to a whole new level. All that and more at FoxSportsArizona.com. Lonnie Chisenhall. So far 0 for 2, the 3rd baseman for the Indians. That was the first walk issued by D-backs pitchers today. Go to the team shop here in Progressive Field, the Indians team store, and you can buy a t-shirt that says Lonnie Baseball, not Donnie Baseball, as Don Mattingly used to be known in New York.
I'm guessing in Arlington they had one that says Ronnie Baseball for Ron Washington.
Wash.
Yeah.
Chisenhall, 1 for his last 20 at the plate. Fouls that one away, 1-1. Chisenhall hit .332 during the first half of the year. He was sensational offensively, but since the All-Star break, he's batting about .160.
tell you, for a lot of guys, they would, especially guys that are rolling like Lonnie Chisenhall was, they'd rather not have the All-Star break. They just want to keep playing ball. Things are going good. You don't want to disrupt your rhythm and timing, and then all of a sudden you take 3 or 4 days off right in the middle of the season, and sometimes it's hard to jumpstart it again after the break.
Especially in Chisenhall's case, the Indians had to an extent almost given up on him ever winning the third base job. He'd been a top prospect there for several seasons, but just never hit consistently enough to stick. A former first-round pick. In fact, as we mentioned earlier in the ballgame, Carlos Santana was moved from catcher to third base this spring. Santana was going to be the guy over there, but he had to move over to first when Cleveland had some injuries, and that opened things up for Chisenhall, and he was like a dog with a bone, not going away. Hit .345 over the first 3 months of this season. He's ahead, 2 balls and a strike. Dickerson holding at first, and Marshall's behind now, 3-1 after the leadoff walk. Chisenhall, since July 1st, hitting under 200, only 5 extra base hits. He has really cooled. Dickerson bluffs at first. Chisenhall fouls that one off. Lonnie Chisenhall, a first-round pick, 2008 draft. He went about 14 spots ahead of Wade Miley in that first round. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Dickerson, the runner at first. Dickerson takes off. Chisenhall fouls that one away.
And looking ahead to the top of the batting order, you got a switch hitter after Chisenhall, then a right-handed hitter in Holt, and then you roll back around to the top of the order, the left-handed hitting Jason Kipnis, followed 2 batters later by Michael Brantley, so you better have a lefty going.
Oliver Perez. One more time on 3-2. Dickerson takes off again, and that's ball 4. So Evan Marshall, who came on to get a big out to end the 6th, retired Yan Gomes, has walked the first 2 he's faced to open up the 7th in a tie ball game. Here comes Mike Harkey. Zach Walters is the hitter. He's a switch hitter. Much better from the right-hand side. So you want him hitting left-handed against the righty Marshall. Fans, let's take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. The entire state of Ohio, it seems, is gathered to watch the Major League debut of native Ohioan, Andrew Chafin, Ohioite, Ohioan.
Buckeye. He's a Buckeye.
There you go. Actually, he's a Golden Flash. Is that offensive if you call someone who went to another like you're a Bobcat? Buckeye has a certain connotation here in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, but people that are from the state of Ohio are all said to be from the Buckeye State. They call themselves Buckeyes, whether they went to Ohio State or not.
I don't start calling me Script Ohio or anything. So that'll be a big ball game to watch. There's a former Diamondback, Brian Shaw, and his cut fastball warming up in the Indian bullpen. Andrew Chafin's Major League debut coming up. Game 2 about 30 minutes after Game 1 here. Zach Walters singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2. All 3 of his major league home runs have come as a right-hand hitter, so this is advantage Marshall here, is out there in shadow. Throw down to second. Didi Gregorius knocked it down and prevented the ball from getting into center field, as Dickerson wandered a little too far off the bag for Miguel Montero's liking.
Boy, that's one of those plays that will not show up in the box score, but Didi made a tremendous defensive play here. Miggy throwing from his knees. Didi had to get around the base runner and then dive back to his right to knock that one down and make sure it didn't get into center field.
Evan Marshall has put himself in a jam here. 2 on, nobody out. A 1-1 count to Zach Walters. Another throw down to second, and that time they get Dickerson. He's picked off the bag. The Indians give away an out on the bases in a tie ball game in the 7th.
Great anticipation right there by Didi and Miguel Montero. Yeah, it looked like he got him on the back before he got the hand on the base. Boy, those bunt situations for a runner at second, when the batter bunts through the ball, you are so susceptible. You're trying to get the biggest jump you possibly can. You see the bat and the ball in the hitting zone, and when the batter misses it, many times you take that extra step lead, and that time it cost Dickerson.
Marshall ahead 1-2. Bouncer to second. Can they turn 2 here? Hill, the little shovel pass to Didi. That's all they'll get. So both of the leadoff walks have been erased. It'll be Walters at first with 2 outs here in the 7th. Is this obstruction at all? Did you make a case?
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. I don't know if Terry Francona could see that from his vantage point in that third base dugout close to home plate, looking out there to second base, but a heads up move by Didi. Just a little hip bump and then the tag on the shoulder before Dickerson got the hand on the bag.
Tyler Holtz knocks that one into left for a 2-out single. Well, he got his first hit in the big leagues back in the 3rd, and now he's 2 for 3. So that pickoff of Dickerson at second really looming large right now for the Diamondbacks, trying to get out of this 7th.
And we saw Oliver Perez warming up earlier and Kirk Gibson making his way to the mound. I think we're going to have a pitching change.
Jason Kipnis, the left-hand hitter, is coming up, and that's going to do it for Evan Marshall, who walked the first 2 in this inning. Got both those runners erased, but now has 2 on and 2 out as he exits. We'll be back after this. Rockies sit until the 6th inning of this ball game. Finishes up with 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, only 4 hits allowed, and what is still a 2-2 ball game.
Yeah, 99 pitches today, a season high of 119 for Bauer. 8 of his last 11 starts, he's gone over 100 pitches. Still sitting in there with the jacket on that right arm. We assume he's out of the game, but we don't know that for sure.
There's still action in the Indians bullpen. Oliver Perez is on now for the 51st time this year. Steps into a little bit of a mess here. 2-2 in the 7th. Indians have runners on first and second, 2 out. And the leadoff man, Jason Kipnis, will step in.
3 previous at-bats for Kipnis against Perez. 1 base hit, 2 strikeouts.
Walters is the runner at second. Holt at first. 2 outs. 2-2 in the 7th, and it's Kipnis who's 1 for 3. Singled and scored his last time up. Didi Gregorius trying to sneak in behind Walters at second base. One and one. Kipnis able to hold off. 2 balls and a strike.
Good location. Just challenged him with a fastball down in the zone.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 outs. Got him. Big strikeout there for Oliver Perez, and the D-backs keep it a 2-2 ball game as Perez comes in and strands 2. It all started with Miguel Montero and Didi Gregorius in that inning. We go to the 8th. We're all tied. Former Indians great on the hot seat with the Brenly committee, and thumbs up from Jess. Thumbs up from you.
Can't go wrong with the World Series trophy.
Yeah, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Candy,
right
that's
there.
big time. Stepping up here in Cleveland.
Thanks to all of you who tweeted in your Fan photos using the hashtag AZFanPhoto, brought to you by AT&T. Oliver Perez on the bench in the Diamondback dugout after getting a big strikeout of Jason Kipnis to keep it a 2-2 ball game. And look who's back out there at 99 pitches to start the 8th is Trevor Bauer.
Well, the way he finished that 7th inning, and I mentioned it a couple of times in that 7th, it looked like he was emptying the tank. It hit the highest velocities of the day, was grunting on every other pitch. We just assumed that he had done his job and was going to hand the ball off to the Indians bullpen, but here he is back out there for the 8th.
His first pitch in this inning was number 100 on the afternoon to Xavier Paul, who singled his last time up. Bauer, this is nothing new actually for Terry Francona. He's been over 100 pitches in 8 of his last 11 starts. His high for the year is 119, so he might have one more inning left in him. But the Indians bullpen standing by. There's a righty and a lefty throwing out there. I showed you Hagedorn and Brian Shaw earlier. Still heating up out there. 1-2 on Xavier Paul. Bauer 0-3 in his last 4 starts. Trying to figure out a way to hang in there and put himself at least in line to get a victory in game 1 of this doubleheader. Both games for you on Fox Sports Arizona. Game 2 about 30 minutes after we finish up game 1. He did not go. Mark Wagner down at third. 2-2. Xavier Paul getting the start in game 1 in left field. His first start for the Diamondbacks. He is defensively played mostly corner outfield, a lot of left in his career. Spent most of this year DHing with the Orioles AAA team in Norfolk, and he bounces that one to second. It backs up Kipnis. Easy play, one away in the 8th. Brings up Jordan Pacheco. Terry Francona trying to squeeze one more inning out of his starter with a doubleheader scheduled here. Pacheco 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded into a double play. That's actually how the Diamondbacks scored their first run of the ball game. They led it 1-0 in the top of the 6th. Jake Lamb led off the inning with a walk against Bauer. Paul singled. Lamb went to third and came in on the Pacheco 6-4-3. Mark Trumbo, a good day so far. A walk and a single. He scored a run. 0-1 on Pacheco. On the ground is short. Right to Mike Aviles. Couple of quick ground ball outs for Bauer in the 8th. And with 2 down, he'll work to Ender Inciarte. Ender is having a great month of August. He has hit in every game this month, including today, 1 for 3. He's batting about .325 this month. Chisenhall in a couple of steps on the grass at third. Ball 1. Boy, a lot of ballparks have weird shadows, but this one is on the list. All kinds of configurations out there. Every time you look, somebody else is in darkness or light. 1-1.
It really shouldn't come into play for any of the defenders other than the first baseman on pickoff attempts. Once again, just based on where the shadows are behind the players. Should be able to handle fly balls at this point, but that shadow behind Carlos Santana right in line with the pitcher's mound. .110 pitches now for Bauer, so he's
9 shy of his season high. 2-1 on Inciarte. There's Santana with the shade still on top of the cap. Some of the fans do the best they can down there behind first base. 2-1 is hammered right to Carlos Santana, who takes extra bases away from Ender Inciarte. That ball was laced. So Bauer works one more inning, gets a 1-2-3-8. Home half on the way. We're still tied in Cleveland. In game one today, Jordan made a nice play at first defensively in that 4th inning. Let's make it our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game as Michael Brantley hits a rope right to Pacheco. They double off Moncavillas at second. That's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. That was off the bat of Michael Brantley. And Brantley is on deck here in the 8th inning. Aviles, Brantley, and Santana 2, 3, and 4 against Oliver Perez. Aviles doubled in that 4th. He's 1 for 3. This is a guy who plays everywhere this season. Second base, third base, shortstop, left field, center field even.
He's got a lot going on with that bat as he waits for Oliver Perez to deliver the ball. Kind of a, I'm not sure, a cross between Gary Sheffield and I don't know who.
Bobby Tolan. 1-1. Reggie Smith.
Yeah, there you go.
One of your teammates. Oliver Perez, his teammates were calling him for a while the Silver Fox. He was getting a little gray around the temples, so you can see he went high and tight back there. Didn't apparently like the Silver Fox nickname. They were giving him a hard time the other day.
If there's no hair, there's no silver hair.
Aaron said, "Oh, we can't call him that anymore." Aaron Hill. There's a strike. It's full 3-2. Brantley on deck. Bounce to first. Pacheco, the backhander. He calls off Perez, and that's the first out. And now the left hand hitting Michael Brantley. A 2-run single his last time up. He's 1 for 3. This was Brantley in the 6th. Aaron Hill had a chance to knock this down with 2 on, but they both scored.
Aaron left his feet. Looked like the ball skipped underneath his glove and on into right field for a base hit.
You look at Michael Brantley's number this season, what he's doing as an all-star, one of the best players in the American League. It's amazing to think about how the Indians got him. When Cleveland traded CC Sabathia to the Brewers back in July of 08, that year Sabathia pitched half a season in Milwaukee. That one kicks off the hand of Aaron Hill, and they'll have no play. Should have been a routine out. Instead, it's a one-out base runner in the 8th.
Looked like it took a little bit of a squirrely hop right there at the end, but even at that, Aaron able to get in front of it enough, knock it up in the air, tries to go after it with the bare hand, but misses it on the second attempt as well.
And that's E4. Second Diamondbacks error of the ball game. And with Brad Ziegler ready in the bullpen, the switch hitting Carlos Santana coming up. They will flip Santana around and they will go to the bullpen. We'll go to a commercial back after this. Back in Cleveland, our Gila River game summary started out as a pitcher's duel. Trevor Bauer has gone 8 innings, 9 strikeouts. Fidel Nuno struck out 5 of the first 6 batters he faced in the ball game. And here we are in the home half of the 8th, still all tied up at 2. And the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the 61st appearance of the year for Brad Ziegler. The switch hitter Carlos Santana is up. And they had the left-hander Oliver Perez in there, but you want to flip Santana and have him hit from the left side. He's more than 50 points lower from this side. However, this is Santana's power side. 15 of his 20 home runs this year have come as a left-hand hitter. But there's a significant decline in batting average. You've got Brantley at first after the error by Aaron Hill. He's the go-ahead run with 1 out here in the 8th. That's a foul ball. There's Michael Brantley mentioned that he was involved after being drafted by the Brewers in that CC Sabathia trade. The big piece the Indians got in return in that deal was Matt Laporte, a big first baseman, first-round pick, 7th overall out of Florida. Well, he played only parts of 4 seasons here and did almost nothing. Bradley was the player to be named later in that deal. Worked out pretty well. Sometimes it's those guys at the back end that you consider maybe throw-ins that turn out to be the real gems. In fact, that Sabathia trade between the Indians and the Brewers was made in July. Brantley didn't even get picked as the player to be named until October. There's a strike, 1-2 now on Santana.
Now the Brewers got what they needed in CC Sabathia. Geez, he pitched every other day down the stretch.
Heading into free agency, was pitching on 3 days rest, going deep into ball games. It was amazing. A ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Santana. He did not go, says Mark Wegner. 2-2. Santana doubled his last time up, 1 for 3. Just his 7th hit here in the month of August. He's batting only about 170 this month. Pulls that one foul. Santana has not hit in this ballpark this season. Batting under 190 at home. He's over 260 on the road. And that's where he's hit the majority of his home runs. 2-2. Keep an eye on Brantley over there. John Adams. #1 Tribe fan on the Twitter. I wonder if he tweets like that, just kind of bangs the keys. Bit Miggy in the bare hand, couldn't hang on to the foul tip, so it stays 2-2. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming up. Popped him up third base side. Should have room for Lamb. Jake Lamb has it. That's the second out here in the 8th. And the batter will be the catcher, Yan Gomes, with 2 outs. Yan Gomes 0 for 3. He has struck out, flied out, grounded out. But he has become an offensive threat this year. You see those numbers: 16 homers, 52 RBIs, already well ahead of his previous career highs. Indians go ahead, run at first with 2 outs. Brantley is a good base runner down there, 13 for 14 in his stolen base attempts this year. No roller in the hole. Gregorius, a backhand stop, a long throw, but they cannot get Gomes. And the Indians have a pair of 2-out base runners. Would have been very hard for Didi to make a play on that one. Hit very slowly in the hole.
It's amazing. He just got to that baseball and then throws across his body, across the diamond. Pacheco picks it out of the dirt over there, but Gomes able to leg it out for an infield hit.
Now it's 2 on and 2 out. Chris Dickerson steps in. He pinch hit for the DH Ryan Rayburn back in the 7th and walked. That was against Evan Marshall.
After that pickoff of Dickerson at second base earlier in the ballgame, Michael Brantley and third base coach Mike Sarbaugh really talking to each other over there. Brantley pointing over his shoulder, let me know where he is.
Bounce to second. Aaron Hill has it. And Ziegler strands 2, sends us to the 9th, tied at 2. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Didi Gregorius, David Peralta, and Mark Trumbo, 2, 3, and 4 in the D-backs 9th. Stand Up to Cancer's 4th annual star-studded telecast, and you can catch the fundraiser featuring music performances and stars from film, TV, and sports in a momentous and inspiring stand against cancer. It's September 5th. It's at 5 p.m. Pacific time. You can watch it on Fox Sports 2. Well, the crowd's filing in here. We got a old-school, traditional doubleheader, 2 for the price of 1 at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Now the crowd's starting to fill out a little bit here after our early start. New pitcher for the Indians to open up the 9th inning. It's the right-hander Cody Allen.
Hard thrower, fastball, curveball combination. Average fastball at 95, average curveball at 86. You know, one thing when you play a doubleheader that unless protocol has changed, the umpire that works home plate for game 2 gets game 1 off. Mike Machlinski, I assume, is going to work the plate in game 2, and to take his place, Sean Barber, a replacement umpire, called up, and he's working first base. So I assume that's what we're going to have in game 2. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, Machlinski was at first last night, but he is watching this one on TV right now, we assume. Didi Gregorius leads off the 9th. He's 0 for 3. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Third base side, Lonnie Chisenhall gives it a look. 1 pitch, 1 out for Allen here in the 9th.
Right fielder number 6, David Peralta.
David Peralta. Peralta had no answers for Trevor Bauer. He was 0 for 3, struck out all 3 times he faced him. Bauer this afternoon went 8 innings, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, walked 2, and had 9 strikeouts. He did not give up a base hit until the 6th inning. Peralta last 33 games, 29 of them starts, has hit over .330. But he had an 0 for 5 Sunday at Chase Field against the Rockies, and he's 0 for 3 so far today. 1-2. David Peralta, .313 batting average coming into the ball game, leading all National League rookies. D-backs bullpen is busy. Madison Reed and Randall Delgado. One if you get the lead, one if you don't.
That's certainly what it looks like. And you have to be careful with Randall Delgado because obviously he's the long guy for game 2 as well.
Peralta 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
The DH, Mark Trumbo.
Oh, it's odd to see a ball game where David Peralta doesn't make solid contact at least once.
Yeah. Did not have a base hit in last night's game, went 0 for 2 before that was washed off the books. Mark Trumbo had a good day so far, a walk and a single. He has scored a run. So Mark's now hit an 8 straight in 10 of his last 11. Mark Trumbo first returned after missing 71 games with that foot injury. It was a struggle. He hit under $160 during his first 2 weeks back. Only 1 extra base hit. But looking and feeling a whole lot better up there. Since July 31st, Mark has hit over .340. 3 doubles and a home run. And he has got RBIs in 5 of his last 6 games. A 4-pitch walk from Cody Allen. Diamondbacks have a 2-out base runner for Miguel Montero. Second time in the ball game, Trumbo is walked. So Mark's aboard for the 3rd time, and here's Miggy, who doubled his last time up. A check swing, excuse me, double against Trevor Bauer that rolled fair up the left field line. So Miggy's now hit in 5 straight, and 6 of the 7 he's played this month. Go ahead, run it first, 2 outs. There's a strike, 0-1. He swung. It's 1-2 now. Not able to hold up.
Well, that is a hard breaking pitch. A lot of guys throw their sliders in the high 80s, but very few guys throw that curveball with that much downward movement in the high 80s.
Cody Allen. A ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Trumbo. Go ahead, run it first. Miggy has been a productive bat here in the month of August. He's got 4 doubles and a home run this month. 2-2. There goes Trumbo. That is in there for a called strike 3. Bottom 9 in Cleveland. We're all tied. Field in Cleveland, game one of this doubleheader. Diamondbacks and Indians tied up 2-2. Let's take a look at our top tier player of the game, brought to you by Arco. Miguel Montero picks off Chris Dickerson, leading a little too far off the second base bag. That was back in the 7th inning. Our Arco top tier player of the game.
That was a huge play in the ball game. Evan Marshall had come in and walked the first 2 batters he faced in that 7. Zach Walters was trying to get down a sac bunt and bunted right through the ball. Miguel Montero alertly fired down to Didi, who made a nice play of his own at the other end.
And on for the Diamondbacks, their 5th pitcher in this first ball game of the doubleheader. Randall Delgado, his 37th appearance of the year. Lonnie Chisenhall, Zach Walters, and Tyler Holt, bottom third of the order, scheduled up for Cleveland. Chisenhall walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2. Chisenhall at the plate, 1 for his last 20. Delgado jumps ahead, 0-2. Got the Fernando Rodney cap going lately. It's a little bit of a tilt. And he strikes out Chisenhall on 3 pitches. 1 down here in the 9th. Hey, fans, catch all of the second half action of this Major League season on MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. You'll be able to watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit dvax.com for all the details. 1 down in the 9th for Zach Walters. Walters, the switch hitter, batting from the left-hand side. He's much better as a right-hand hitter. Singled and scored back in the 6th. This guy, originally a D-backs draft pick, 9th round Diamondback selection in 2010 out of San Diego. Randall Delgado throwing strikes. Was traded for Jason Marquis and then traded just a few weeks ago for Asdrubal Cabrera. Came over from Washington. Hit .205 for the Nationals, 3 home runs, played 32 games. That ball is well hit to right field. And gone. A walk-off home run. Zach Walters, the former D-back draft pick, wins it 3-2. Zach Walters, a switch hitter. All 3 of his big league home runs had come as a right-hand hitter. But he ends this one from the left-hand side against Randall Delgado.
Put that ball right where it needed to be to get out of here to right field. If that's a few feet further to the right, closer to the foul pole, it hits the wall where it extends up. Just snuck it out of here.
Zach Walters wins it for Cleveland. They take game 1 of the doubleheader, and here's another look.
Like a fastball out over the plate and down. Oh, man. I mean, just a couple of feet closer to that foul pole, and it hits the wall and stays in play, but As it is, he gets a shower at home plate, and Poe goes from his teammates.
So it's a 3-2 Indians win in 9. Now this is a traditional doubleheader, so there is no pre or post game to worry about, nothing to deal with there. So we'll just sort of wait it out, and as soon as they are ready, we'll be right back at it for game 2. So it's not a fixed 30 minutes. You'll remember we went through this in New York at Citi Field against the Mets. As soon as things are cleared off, they send the players out there and they are ready to go. So give us 20 to 30 minutes and we'll be right back with you for game 2 here on Fox Sports Arizona. More from Cleveland after this.